You're listening to episode 6 of the Women's Fitness Podcast with Kelly Bakewell PT and Iszi Lawrence. The information in this podcast should not be taken instead of medical advice. We are not doctors, just passionate about fitness, progress and feeling good. You can find out more about us at womensfitnesspodcast.com, but for now, time for some real talk about the mess, stress and silliness that will get you achieving your goals. But yeah, mystery bruising is always a weird, particularly if you haven't been out on an all-night bender.
I know, exactly. I was like, I definitely have not done this. Plus it's on both legs, so... And I haven't been doing anything like squeezy holding with legs.
You haven't been crushing any watermelons recently. No. That's a sad time.
I haven't even been on the abductors.
The best mystery bruising that you get is after a bender, which
is
the bruising just above your boobs, which is where you've been vomiting into the toilet so hard.
I've never had that one.
You get a bruise on your chest.
Yep, never had that one.
That is proper. So,
although I did punch myself in the face, so...
I think that should be the opening line of this I did just punch myself in the face. What's taking a slug of... I do that a lot, particularly when I'm boxing and I'm withdrawing my hand back. So I've thrown out a jab and I pull it back because I have no idea where my hands are in relation to my face. I have punched myself in the face doing that before.
Yeah, I've done it pulling the bed covers up.
Oh wow.
Like a massive heave and then just let go.
Yeah. It was, the best one I heard was Douglas Adams, the man who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He once fell asleep with his hand up in the air, and he woke up and it fell down on him, smashed him, and broke his nose.
Wow, how does that even happen?
Because you fall asleep with your hand up in the air locked, and then, because your bones are locked, and you wake up and it just falls straight down.
I didn't even know you could fall asleep with your hand in the air.
I think he is a special man.
Yeah.
Very special man, in many ways. But anyway, I am sat here. I am Iszi Lawrence. Hello. I am not a PT. I am a person who likes to do jitsu, and I have half a protein shake. If you want to find out more about protein shakes, listen to episode 5 of the Women's Fitness Podcast. That was last week. I'm sat here opposite me, drinking coffee, which is caffeine, which is either good or bad.
Pre-workout.
Yeah, pre-workout. Is Kelly Bakewell PT.
Hi.
With her iPad of dreams.
Yeah. And
her cardigan of sparkles.
It's just cosy, sparkly.
It's a good cardigan. I've got a Tadley Jitsu hoodie on and a Primark jumper and then some hideous, but I'm quite proud of them, leggings.
I like the leggings.
They're snake.
Yeah, exactly.
Snake skin, but black and white snake skin. I wanted to get them in actual snake skin colours, but they didn't have my size.
I genuinely have some in snake skin colours.
Nice.
Yes.
It does make you feel like you're being eaten, which by 2 snakes with no head. Good.
Your leggings clearly do all the things that mine do.
Indeed. Have we got any updates from last week? What's been happening in the world of Kelly Bakewell?
Other than punching myself in the face, yep. Okay, I really should be prepared for this question.
Well, I know I ask you every week. I should find a different question to ask you, like what hasn't happened. There we go.
I have not been smacked by an elephant this week.
That's good.
That didn't happen. I wasn't abducted by aliens.
That's good as well.
So,
I mean, as far as you know, because they might have replaced your memories.
That's true. That would explain the bruising.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds plausible.
Kelly has mystery bruising at the moment, which
on both legs.
On both legs, which might be down to the new medications her doctors put her on.
Yeah, or iron.
Or iron,
or
yes.
Many other things. So if it's still there in a few days, I'll go and get it checked out.
When I was heavily anemic, I had a lot of bruising. I get a lot of bruising anyway in jiu-jitsu, but I had a lot of bruising. And I still get quite a lot of bruising.
Yeah.
Such a special lady.
I have to check my eyeballs.
Eyeballs? How do you mean your eyeballs?
With a little bit of skin just at the eyelid. If that's like quite white, then that's sometimes a sign of anemia.
It is. But sometimes mine is white anyway, and it sometimes doesn't go. I find it's when I get really dark circles under my eyes is a good sign that I'm anemic.
Yeah. And
also when I get out of breath.
Well, we should talk about chronic illnesses actually.
We were going to, so let's do that.
How about yours?
Well,
what you got?
Guys, it's so sexy. I don't have many chronic illnesses. I get anemia, which is recurring, and it's largely down to my doctor has worked out the fact that I do this thing called menstruate. I don't know if other women have this. It's
I've
a
heard
bit
of
of a
this
weird
thing.
thing, yeah.
Mm.
And the thing is, the doctors cannot rely at all on what you report. Because you might think you've got a very heavy flow, and other women might think they've got a very light flow, and it bears no correlation with the actual flow. Now, they do this in a beautiful way. They work this out. They collect tampons off women and weigh them.
That's someone's job.
That is someone's job.
Wow.
Someone does that as a research project, and bless them. But they have found out there is no correlation with what women report.
I guess it's relative as to what you think heavy is.
Exactly. And so, because nobody talks about it and knows. Now, I would say that because I used to have the copper T coil in, and then I had the Minerva, whatever it's called, coil in, and that went wrong.
Yeah, I had that one.
But why they put that in me, I have no idea. But and with the copper T coil, my periods were really heavy, but I wasn't exercising, and I didn't really notice that I was anemic. And then I'd sleep like 14 hours, but that was just fun.
Yeah, sleeping's good.
Sleeping's nice. So, and I did have very heavy periods, and I did. But it wasn't until... But taking the coil out, and my periods got a bit lighter, and I thought everything was fine. And then, I started to do this thing called exercise.
Yeah.
And I was building muscle, so I was using my red blood cells for,
Busy doing other stuff.
Exactly, and building, like getting proper hench. And what was happening was I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I suddenly couldn't see.
Oh. Did you go totally black, or did it go like stars?
It wasn't stars, it was black around the outside, just getting smaller, narrowing in, yeah. And so I was having to defend myself against weapon attacks, not being able to see anything, and being completely out of breath and confused and rubbish anyway. So it wasn't the best martial arts you've ever seen, I imagine, watching me. However, so I went to the doctor several times, and I think it was the third occasion. And also another symptom I had like big glasses. What I would love to do, get a big glass of crushed ice and pour in a small amount of like liquid into that, usually coconut water, and I'd crunch through the ice. And I was getting through about 4 or 5 glasses just of ice a day.
Okay.
And apparently, I googled this after I'd been diagnosed, and apparently this is really common. If you are craving ice, it's pica. You are craving your minerals, and one of those is presumably iron.
Oh.
And that is a very, like, people, lick walls and paint and that sort of stuff.
Standard. It's like pregnancy cravings.
Yeah, exactly like that, except just because you're not getting... And I was eating loads of broccoli, and I eat things like red meat and liver and stuff because I'm a cruel, cruel person. But no, what it was just the menstruation. So the doctor put me on a progesterone pill, and then when that reduced everything, but I was still slightly anemic, so doubled the progesterone pill, stopped my periods stopped. And now they're just like, periods have stopped for a long time. How about we take you off it again? I'm just like, okay. So now I'm off it and waiting for the return of the... But I'm not anemic at the moment, which is really nice.
So how did exercise help you?
Exercise helped because it made me find out what was wrong. It made me concentrate on my diet.
Yep.
It made me aware of my body and realising that sleeping for 14 hours a night probably isn't the most healthy thing.
It's nice though.
It is nice, but I was still exhausted.
Yeah,
so
that's not the best.
Exactly, and I couldn't climb the stairs without getting out of breath. And I was exercising regularly and going, why aren't I fitter? I'd go for a jog, and I had a little Fitbit, and it was pretty accurate when you're jogging because it's steady, regular.
Yeah.
So I'd be able to work out what my heart rate was, and my heart rate averaged at 188.
Nice.
For a gentle jog.
Wow.
So I was not in the best place.
No.
But now it seems to have got a lot better, and like I say, doing exercise highlighted the problem and made me do something about it, which now makes me have 7 to 8 hours sleep a night and feel more rested than I did when I was having 14 hours.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but it's something I have to keep an eye on, and something I have to, I'm still struggling with the consequences of.
But at least you're aware of it now.
Yeah, that is good, and educated about it as well.
Very true.
But if you find yourself craving ice,
Check it out.
Particularly in winter. Cause,
yeah, that is a bit weird.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. But there we go. How about you, though? You've got much more exciting.
Not that exciting. I have fibromyalgia, scoliosis and hypermobility syndrome. So they're kind of almost linked a little bit. So the hypermobility is kind of attributed to the scoliosis. So it just means my spine's curved, which is causing my discs to degenerate at the bottom. So kind of like bulge out a little bit, and the bit in between the discs is kind of wearing away.
Oh.
Just casually wearing away. Fibromyalgia is it's up there with the chronic illnesses like ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, that sort of thing.
But the ones that, you know, where you really should just pull your socks up and you're just making it up, those ones.
Yeah, those ones. So they think now that fibromyalgia is something to do with it could be something to do with the central nervous system. It could be something to do with the receptors that are going to the brain that read pain differently. So, like extremes of pain, that sort of thing. So, basically just means I'm tired a lot. If I've got a flare, which is when it's particularly bad, like now, I could easily sleep like 20 hours and not feel like I've had a sleep.
Yeah.
So it makes it really difficult to get out of bed. Everything hurts, especially trigger points. I've got specific trigger points that if they're pressed, it's just agony. It's just horrific. My DOMs are way worse. There's like no energy. Get brain fog, so I just forget everything. My short-term memory is just horrific anyway. And then I get my sensitivities are generally like light and noise. So like super bright lights or like really loud noises. There's specific ones that I really don't like. IBS as well. Gives me really bad IBS.
Oh dear, that's not fun.
Yeah, so I get
Iron
quite bad
pills
bloating.
do the same with that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where different people tend to get different symptoms as well. So it used to be quite hard to diagnose, but if you find a decent doctor, there are certain tests they can do.
Like what? Because I mean, to diagnose anemia, it's very simple. It's
yeah,
a blood
it's not like blood tests or anything like that. It's kind of like going through a questionnaire sort of thing, and then checking trigger points and that sort of thing. Really. It also means that although you're knackered, you can't sleep. So the insomnia is like amazing.
Nice.
But it's really weird that to get to sleep anyway, you lie there and pretend to be asleep.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only things you pretend to do something to, then it happens. Like lying there with your eyes closed going, this is be sleeping.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you are asleep. It's really weird.
Weirdly, I find I've always been able to sleep very easily, but there are certain times when it's just like, no. And it's usually if I'm really tired. Mm. And then you get to the point of, how do I fall asleep?
Yeah, it's weird.
And it becomes a sort of like, you know, how if you've ever like had like some food in your mouth, just how do I swallow? You just or if you're asked, if you ever want to feel particularly bizarre, just stand away from a friend and ask them to film you walking, and you will not remember how you normally walk.
Yeah, if you know you're being watched, it's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're watching yourself trying to sleep, and therefore you cannot sleep.
So I've been given amitriptyline, nortriptyline, and tramadol. I try not to take them too much, to be honest, the amitriptyline, because they make me like a full zombie. But if I haven't slept for like 3 nights or 4 nights and I'm really feeling it, then I will do. But then I just feel super groggy the next day. But at least I've had a sleep.
Your caffeine intake, because obviously you need it.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. But is that going to affect your sleep patterns as well?
I would have thought so, but to be honest, like when I went to see the doctor, he said that I really respect what you're doing, because it takes a lot of willpower to not be on tablets constantly, because I do try and treat it a bit more holistically. And I have all the respect in the world for people that do take the tablets, like nothing against that, but I just really wanted to kind of have a bit of an ownership over it. So unless it's really, really bad, then I tend to just try and deal with it through like exercise and diet.
I used to take a lot of painkillers, and then I read about particularly ibuprofen and how quite dangerous it is and linked to strokes and everything else.
Rubbish for building muscle as well.
And also, is it? I mean, what I also heard about it, and I heard this from a runner friend of mine, who was taking it every day because he was in pain. Took it every day, went for his run, took more of it, And then somebody told him that it causes inflammation. So as well as reducing inflammation, if you take it long term, it causes inflammation. And therefore when he stopped taking it, he wasn't in as much pain.
Yeah, if you think like, if your body's doing an inflammatory response, it is because of something. So if you let it get through the inflammatory response, it will correct itself, generally. So ibuprofen's kind of just blocking that natural inflammation response.
But it's quite nice if you've stuffed your
true.
A joint or your back or something, you just want to get rid of the pain to reduce the inflammation. But now, why is it bad for building muscle? Where have you just heard this?
Yeah, that was on the interweb while I was looking. Weirdly enough, I was looking at ibuprofen, and it's not particularly good for building muscle. It does something to it. So, like, exercising with chronic illnesses, like, there will be days when you can't even get out of bed. Like, I have them. There's been days when I've not been able to get out of bed till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But for my own mental health, I just turn my day around and then try and get the things I was going to get done in the evening, so that I don't kind of feel like it's one. But exercise can obviously try and help you sleep a little bit more. You get a boost of energy. It's going to help you mentally as well. So it's going to help you feel like you haven't kind of lost control to this illness and that you have control of your body. But the other thing that it does is, if you have stronger muscles, it takes the kind of emphasis off your joints, so it reduces the strain on your joints. So that's going to help obviously with like sore joints. It can help people who've got like arthritis, osteoarthritis, that sort of thing as well. So there's a lot of indicators about strength training specifically to help with things like that.
Well, I don't have, this isn't a chronic illness, it is just a problem of weakness. But for ages I had a bad back. And this actually went when I was running. And the reason is I've been to a physio. The reason is there's so little, I had such small traps and such small lower trapezius that the nerve that runs down your basically, neck, down to your shoulder, down to your little finger, that touches my spinal cord. So that if I twist it or I sleep weird or I'm just get jogged or battered in any way, it touches my spinal cord, I get an entire tingly arm.
Yep.
And it hurts. And previously it would hurt so much that I wasn't physically able to get up out of bed at all. So I wouldn't be able to hold my head up and everything else. Now if it goes, and it goes very rarely, and usually because I've been clotheslined at jitsu or, done something quite, proper whiplashy type affair. But now when it goes, it hurts, but I can still move about. I'm strong enough to sort of, drive a car and the rest of it, and I'm not, because I was completely out of sorts, and it's just because I've now got the muscles to actually hold my head up.
Yeah.
And and I know so many people who go, I've got a sore back, so I had to stop exercising. It's just like, don't do that.
No, like exercise has genuinely saved my life.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I'd be able to manage just on a day-to-day basis without it. Because there's been times when I've had to drag myself to the gym, got to the gym, and I'm like, I don't even think I can do anything. But then as soon as I start, the adrenaline kicks in, and then once I'm done, I feel much better afterwards. And there's the other thing where it helps like combat stress. Is if you get stressed, you produce cortisol. So if you're not stressed and you're at the gym, you can help fight cortisol. And cortisol can make you retain fat. It's the stress hormone. It's quite a nasty little thing.
It's not nasty, it's very useful in emergency.
It is. But unless
if a tiger is chasing you and you've got to sort of look after yourself.
But it's because we have so many indicators of stress that aren't really, obviously they are real stresses to us, but in like a primal sort of respect, it's not, like cortisol doesn't need to be going off every 5 seconds.
No.
Which, unfortunately, with modern living, it tends to be that case now.
Yeah, and also, we do stimulate it, so like caffeine stimulates cortisol. But at the same time, exercise in itself is a stress.
Yeah, if you exercise too much, you'll produce cortisol.
Yeah, well, you have to, but it's the healing of it's the healing of that stress which helps you build muscle, which helps you feel stronger, which releases the good endorphins.
Endorphins, yeah.
Endorphins.
And it helps to lower bad cholesterol, so LDLs, that sort of thing, low density lipids.
Which are the ones that clog up your arteries.
The bad ones. Yeah. So exercise helps against that. And it's like even a chronic illness, like say polycystic ovaries, so PCOS. I've had people ask me about exercising on that, and it's super important to exercise on that, because again, the thing with cortisol will affect people with PCOS a little bit more because of the insulin resistance. So it's kind of having a good think about your diet and getting moving. Yeah. Like even if you can only just manage a walk that day, you keep your joints moving, get out, just do something.
I think it's a lot to do with mental health, because I mean I know you'll hate the cardio, but if I'm stressed and I go for even a long walk, that does, if you're out in the open, even if you're getting rained on, you feel it's a very natural thing for a human body to do, is to move through the environment. Yeah. And if I recommend anybody who's studying for exams at the moment, instead of writing your notes down for a 5th time, speak them into your phone, then go for a walk and listen to you doing the phone, and you will remember. Yeah, it will really help you, because naturally that is why our memory is there. Our memory is there so that when we walk through a landscape, we go, okay, there's the food, there's where we can sleep, there's a potential predator, and so we know roughly where we're going, and that's how our brain is wired. So actually moving while you're learning is a really good. If you want to learn, listen to this podcast and go for a walk. Boom. But there is that aspect of it, but also doing a sport or doing a gym class or doing something where you're with a PT or something where you're not alone. You're doing something. It becomes a whole other level of
it's a social interaction.
Exactly, it's a social interaction. But also, if you are doing a sport, it's really good bonding. It's like going, people who go to church. It's like that sort of. It's like singing in a choir, sort of bonding. Doing the same thing at the same time with other people is a very good human thing to do.
I mean, even if you suffer from anxiety, which I know a lot of people do, and I've had clients that have been in the same situation, but because it's something outside of their normal environment, they feel that they're a lot less anxious. So they can kind of let go and kind of enjoy themselves a little bit.
I mean, I suffer panic attacks and the rest of it, and doing jiu-jitsu's helps so much with that, because every time I do jiu-jitsu, I am doing something I do not want to do, at least once every session, and I'm doing something I'm genuinely scared of at least once every session. So, when I have a 120 kilogram man running at me with a chain, and I'm meant to deal with that, I deal with that. When I'm being asked, okay, go into a handstand and do a break fall from a handstand, when I'm scared of going over my own head, all these little things, you build it up, and then after, just being able to sort of just go, oh, that was fear, and I overcame it. Even if it's only a tiny bit of fear, overcoming that, you just get such a good buzz out of that.
Yeah, and it's as I say, it's kind of just taking control and getting your body back. So it is going to be tough to start off with. Anything's tough to start off with, especially if you've got a chronic illness, because you will hurt more than normal. It'll seem much harder than normal. You will definitely want to give up. But if you just push yourself through that, because like for me, I've always very much thought I need to help myself, because what the doctors are offering isn't necessarily the path I want to be on kind of long term. I don't want to have to take tablets every day. I don't want operations. I don't want to feel weaker than I am. So yeah, just get exercising, just get moving, just do anything.
Yeah, I don't think, because I think I've mentioned this in the first episode, but when I was a teenager, because I didn't exercise, and because I was very good at the subject and everything else, and I wasn't very good at exercise because I never tried, because I was never, that's uncomfortable. Why would I want to be uncomfortable? People who want to be uncomfortable are obviously idiots who can't think. But exercising, if you consider yourself a nerdy girl, if you consider yourself to be, I'm nerdy, I don't need to go out, I don't need to do anything, I'm just going to, sit here and I'm going to play my, board games, and I'm going to read my books, and I'm going to be proper nerdy and everything. I don't care what I look like, that's not an importance to me, it's all about the intellect. Believe me, even if you just go for a half-hour walk every day, your mind opens. It is such a good stimulation for your mind. And we are not just brains floating around in a little box. We are everything. You are your entire body. It is your meat carriage that you are walking through this life, and if you take care of it, all of it works better.
Yeah, you are going to feel out of control, and it's a horrible feeling, but just try and reclaim it as much as you can. That's all I can advise, really.
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up about it.
No, definitely not. Don't feel like you've let yourself down. As long as you do something, just try and do something.
I let myself down today. I was doing squats, and I my last personal best I did with squats, because I usually just do volume on squats, so I never really go heavy. And today I tried to go heavy, and it was like 2.5 months since I last did my PB, which is 90 kilograms, which was, it's a lot considering where I started.
Yeah.
Hey. Ding dong. Oh, it's yours. Do you want to take it?
No, that's just telling me I've got a client at 5.
But yeah, today, so just went, okay, did 90, that was fine. 92, that was fine. 92.5, that was fine. So woohoo, beat the PB. And then I thought, I'll go for 95. And I just positioned myself slightly wrong. And I just, I had the bar not quite right on my shoulders and everything, and I went for it and it went wrong. And didn't hurt myself or anything like that, but it's just like, and then that was like my final lift, so it's like, I didn't even lift it, I didn't even feel that heavy.
Yeah, but you'll get it next time.
I will do.
That's the thing,
but I could do 100. I know I could do 100.
Yeah, of course you can.
Could do it if I wasn't such an idiot.
Have you got a question for us? Get in touch on Facebook. Find us on Instagram using the hashtag WOMFITPod. That is WOMFITPOD. And on Twitter at WOMFITPod. Or go to the website womensfitnesspodcast.com.
So we had a question, didn't we?
Oh yes, we did have a question. Oh, I presume her name is pronounced Jilly.
Yeah.
I won't say her full name.
No.
Even though it's obviously a joke name, and if it isn't a joke name, it's an awesome name.
Okay.
So we have a message from Jilly. Hi, I'm new to this page. It's a group, Jilly. Know your Facebook. The Women's Fitness Podcast group. And hoping to get some advice about exercise after injury. Now, I used to be very fit, but I slipped 3 discs 2 years ago. One of them compressed my sciatic nerve, and I've been in severe pain ever since. I'm getting surgery at some point soon. I've been unable to train for 2 years, and the weight has crept on. I want to start getting the weight off, as I think this will help, but I don't want to aggravate my injury, and I have no idea where to start. Any advice would be welcome. Big smiley face.
We like smiley faces.
Smiley face is always good.
I mean, first off, speak to your doctor, get clearance to do exercise.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not a doctor.
And nor am I.
So definitely get some clearance to see if you can exercise. Bearing in mind that weight obviously does have a lot to do with diet. So what tends to happen is if you've been working out and you used to be quite fit, you'll carry on eating as though you were still that person. If you're not working out quite as much, you need to take a look at your diet and look at where changes could be made. So, I mean, I would find it quite difficult if I stopped working out tomorrow and still tried to eat 2,200 calories a day. I would definitely put weight on. So, have a look at your diet, see where you can make the changes, maybe try and figure out your new total daily expenditure. It will probably be, like, significantly different if you used to be really fit and have gone to nothing. The other thing is to check what movements cause pain. So, does it tend to happen more when you're doing a side-to-side bend or a front bend, like bending over? Where are you feeling the pain? And then try and work it round there. So strengthen your glutes so that they're kind of taking a bit more of the emphasis from your lower back or somewhere in your back. I'm not sure where your discs are, but I'm assuming it's in your lower back.
It's sciatic nerve.
Yeah, I would say lower back. But strengthen your glutes, that'll help take quite a lot of the pressure from your lower back. You can't do things like good mornings because bending over in that way would aggravate it.
And a good morning for those who are like, what do you mean you can't have a coffee and breakfast? No, what we mean is doing a hip hinge with a
barbell on your back.
Yeah, exactly, up on your shoulders, and you lean forward and lean back.
Yeah, so I definitely wouldn't do them. I would probably stay away from deadlifts as well. And if you're going to do squats, don't do it with a bar on your back. Do like kind of goblet squats, so you're keeping yourself very your spine will pretty much be pretty vertical. To strengthen your glutes, instead of doing kind of deadlifts and good mornings, you could do glute bridges off the floor. So your back will be quite protected in that. Also do things to try and strengthen your abs and your corset muscles in general. So rather than doing kind of a full sit-up, which will aggravate your back again, do little crunches, do some planking, Superman, that sort of thing.
Leg raises?
That might aggravate your lower back a little bit. Like as I said, with checking out the movements, see whether it bothers you, because there is quite a big pull on the lower back when you're doing leg raises. But strengthening the surrounding muscles is what's really going to help you back. I mean, that's exactly what I did with mine.
Pull-ups maybe, because if you're trying to do pull-ups and your legs are, because you have to brace your core for that.
Yeah.
But you're going to work those corset muscles, but at the same time not so much your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how I dealt with my back with the scoliosis, I'm still pretty wonky, but I'm a lot stronger than I used to be because I've worked very hard on trying to sort out the muscle imbalances rather than the shape of my spine, and just strengthening glutes, hamstrings, core, just to kind of take the emphasis off it. The other thing I would do is try and do some fascia stretching. So if you get a golf ball and roll underneath your foot, so put it under your foot.
Your fascia is part of your foot.
Your fascia, you've got fascia that runs pretty much from the bottom of your foot right up to pretty much the base of your neck, and then you've got one that runs from just base of your neck, well actually like just above on the top of your head.
Not the top of your lip, maybe.
No, you've got one that runs on the front, from just under the chin, pretty much all the way down the front. So the fascia is kind of over the top of your muscles.
Okay.
So
it's like the wrapping underneath the skin.
Yeah, sort of. It's really, really interesting because that can be tight and it not necessarily be your muscle. And there's this really cool like little experiment thing you can do. If you get a ball, if you try and stand and touch your toes, like now anyone can do it, see how far you can get, then just spend about a couple of minutes just rolling a ball under your foot on both sides and then try and touch your toes. You'll get much, much closer. And it's such a weird thing. It really, really works, and that kind of gives you an idea of how the body works, because it might be that fascia is tight, so that'll help release a little bit around the back, and then some foam rolling along the back as well. So it's trying to kind of loosen off the muscles that are going to be compensating at the minute as well, and strengthening up the other ones.
Cool. I mean, I just it must be such a aggravating thing to be injured when you were previously incredibly active.
Yeah, I mean back pain's just one of the worst. Like I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No.
But it's kind of figuring out what you can and can't do. Like sometimes I'll be a bit silly and do some deadlifts, and if it goes slightly wrong, like I'll feel it for a good 2 weeks after it.
Yeah.
So it's just be careful.
I would also recommend just, if you want to work out what, and you're a bit like, well, that kind of hurts, so what should I do? Go see a physio, because they will give you the exercises that you need to strengthen the parts of you that will help your own injury, and at the same time tell you not to do things.
Yeah. And I mean, there's only you that, like when I went to see my physio, when I used to do that, they gave me exercises to do, but you're your own best doctor as well, in a way that you know what hurt and where exactly it hurts. So keep like a pain management diary.
There's some really good apps for that as well.
Yeah, I've just downloaded one for fibromyalgia.
Nice.
It's really good.
Oh yeah, no, I downloaded a mood app, and it's so far it's pretty good. I'm happier than I thought I was.
You're good.
At certain times, and some things that make me very unhappy.
Oh.
I don't know why. Jitsu makes me very happy.
Good.
Just after Jitsu, I am so happy.
Good.
Which is just like, okay,
so that's the
sense.
exercise thing.
That's the exercise, that's the social bonding,
Yeah.
That's going, yay, I did Heimigoshi, yay, I got my leg up, it worked. And then, there's some things which don't make me happy but need to be done, and other things I think, well, there's no need for me to do that if it makes me annoyed, so let's not do that. So, and not beating yourself up, going, I haven't done this bit of work.
But I think the apps can be really handy, especially when we were talking about dealing with chronic illnesses, because I've been referred to another specialist now that I've moved here, and he just so happens to be a specialist in spinal wellness and fibromyalgia.
And he's called Dr. Back?
No, that's my doctor. It's called Dr. Bakewell. That's just the best. But I've started using this app so that it'll print it off in PDF as well, so that when he asks me the questions, because with my brain fog, I can't really remember much. But if I fill this in every day, it asks about where the pain is, what the severity of the pain is, what other things that you're dealing with, your mood, how you slept. You just print it off and give it to him.
That's really good.
See if there's any, like,
my
what do you call them?
my doctor as well now. You can book online, and when you book online, they give a "do you know what this appointment's about" type thing to fill in, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Because you can just go, I'm booking this for this reason. This is, this is my symptoms I'm suffering from. This is what I think it might be related to. Help, type thing. Then when you go in, you don't have that thing of going, oh, and there's also this.
Yeah, because the second you sit down in doctors, you forget everything that's wrong with you.
Yeah.
You sit down, they go, what's wrong? You're like, oh. So
Yeah.
I've gone in with notes before because I just get myself a bit tongue-tied when I go in, and I
I'd
can't
really
remember
recommend
anything.
it because they've only got a short amount of time.
Yeah.
If it's NHS doctor, you've only got a short amount of time. But like I say, if you've got, I've never gone to a physio and thought, oh, I wasted my money. That has never happened. And that has happened with chiropractors a couple of times.
Yeah, I've done the same.
And it has happened with my friends when they've gone to, like, I was going to say Chinese witch doctors, the ones who put needles in you.
Yeah.
What they call acupuncturists.
Yeah.
Which I think is largely psychological.
I've had cupping, and it made me look like I'd been attacked by like some sort
cupping
of
is so hilarious.
some sort of octopus with suckers all over it.
That's like
I bruised for like 3 weeks.
something like Paracelsus would have done back in the 16th century. That is just not a.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the importance of getting blood to an area in order to, help the inflammation and everything else. However, bullshit.
Everyone's entitled to their opinions.
Everybody is. And to be honest, my mum takes homeopathy, and I don't think homeopathy is a thing that works. But if you find it works for you, there's no harm in doing it.
Yeah,
the
and
only
the thing
harm
is that
if,
stuff had to be invented originally from like plants and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. Well, do you know what homeopathy is?
there's the oils and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, what homeopathy is basically in Victorian times, or just before Victorian times, people were being given mercury to cure stuff and were dying like crazy.
Yeah.
And there's one guy said, well, maybe it's not actually, the medicine that we give. Maybe if we actually use the vibrations of the medicine. So what
It's
he
like
does,
gongs and stuff.
No. He mixes the first rule is what causes the symptoms cures the symptoms, which is why you have like
What?
which is why you have it begins with A for bruising. It's a plant. Oh God.
yeah, the
Not ammonia. Arnica.
Arnica gel.
You get arnica. Arnica in the wild is a plant that causes internal bleeding. So, like cures like is the first rule. So they'll give you caffeine for sleeping pills in homeopathy.
Okay, cool.
But they won't give you that because what they do is they dilute it to the point. So they get a drop and they put that in 10 drops and they mix it up, and then they get a drop and they put that in 10 drops of water and mix it up, and they put a drop of that and that in 10 drops and mix it up to the point where it is so dilute you may as well. You can have more of the medicine if you just drank a glass of ocean water. Right. So more of the active ingredient, and then they drop 1 drop of that onto some sugar pills, and they give you that. Which in the past, when the actual medical treatment would have done you more harm than the disease, and which would have got better by itself, having homeopathy
Probably worked pretty well then.
probably works
Yeah.
pretty well. But nowadays people do genuinely take it, thinking it's going to cure them of stuff, and it does cost a lot of money. And placebo effect is an amazing thing. If it works for you, it's not going to do you any harm unless you're diabetic and you take a lot of it because it is sugar pills. But it's it's just, for me, it's just a massive con.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to admit to having done quite a lot of things, because when you're in like so much pain and you've exhausted all the other avenues and you just want it to stop. I've had acupuncture, ultrasound, cupping, some wave therapy, TENS machines, like all sorts of things, just ending my tether. And then I just was like, right, I'm just gonna have to work out and eat properly.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like the placebo effect. If you don't think the placebo effect You know, like people like, even if you understand it,
Yeah.
it still works.
There's a lot of studies.
For example, Ben Goldacre, who's a doctor who wrote a book called Bad Medicine, I think, and he had it's a lovely experiment. If you give people ibuprofen or you give them Nurofen, even if they know the pills are exactly the same, like there's no difference in the thing, the ones with Nurofen, if you go out and buy them, are going to cure your pain better because you've spent more money on them and therefore you want them to work better.
Excellent.
So I would say buy the cheap ibuprofen, but don't if you're going to. Buy the branded stuff and spend more money because you're more invested. The difference is, like doing stand-up comedy, you can tell an audience who's paid nothing to get in versus an audience who's paid 30 quid to get in. Because you say hello to the audience, and they either go, whatever, or they go, yes, we're having fun now!
Oh,
we have paid £30, this is going to be great!
Amazing.
So, yeah, that, you know, don't kid yourself that you're more intelligent than you are, because you're not. And you can, believe me, we're all idiots, and you can make yourself feel a lot better by getting little rituals, like making tea in a certain way. So, like, I occasionally, if I can't sleep, I have valerian root tea.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know if it is good. That's the thing. But I know I associate it with, okay, I'm going to leave this for exactly this amount of time. I'm going to stir it in this exact way, and I'm going to take myself very gently up to bed. And I'm going to drink it. I'm going to read a thing. And I'm going to turn the light off, and I'm just going to calm. I'm not even going to try and sleep. I'm just going to calm, and then I wake up in the morning. But because I have that ritual associated.
But that's the same as lavender. So people think lavender helps them sleep, but the only reason that you equate lavender with bedtimes is because it's what they used to use in bedpans to disguise the smell. So they used to use lavender to disguise the smell of wee, and then everyone's gone, well, lavender helps you sleep because it was for bedtimes.
That's really interesting about lavender.
Yeah,
That is a
it is.
lovely fact. It's just to stop it smelling like poo.
Yeah.
So, yes, the opposite to sleeping times is urine. No.
Mm.
Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you want to get in touch with us, please do. Do spread the word about this podcast as much as you can.
Yeah, let's
And-
get everyone involved.
Exactly, because I think and if you've got a thought about something that's really worked for you, to do with pain, if you've got any questions and suggestions, please do get in touch either via the Facebook group, write us a review on iTunes, that would be amazing, and share the podcast.
Yeah.
Until then, should we turkey?
We'll high five you.
Okay, we're high-fiving.
Done.
Boom,
Woo.
there we go.
Thanks for listening, but before you go, please spread the word about the podcast. Write us a review on iTunes, and we want your feedback. Go to womensfitnesspodcast.com or email womensfitnesspodcast@gmail.com. You can support us financially on Patreon, and also you can follow us. You can find Kelly Bakewell PT on Facebook and Instagram as @KellyBakewellPT, and you can find Izzi, that's me, on Instagram and Twitter as @Izzi_Lawrence, that is ISZI_LAWRENCE. Music by Boothby Graffo, available on bandcamp.com. We'll see you next week. High five on the internet.